Eve Queller's like this wonderfully wacky, crazy, dogmatic, musically exacting, rhythmically punishing, great mother, grandmother, babysitter. I mean, it's very hard to describe Eve Queller. Okay, so Eve Queller hired me to do Countess Olga in Fedora in 1989, 90, 91. I was Harolyn Blackwell's understudy, and I got the nickname as the Heldon Soubrette because of that. Okay, Eve Queller rehearses in her living room. She writes all those ornaments herself. She's amazing. There's no one like her. I don't know how to talk about Eve Queller. Clearly, I love Eve Queller. Love Eve Queller. It is so hard to describe the experience of working with Eve Queller because you're terrified because she knows everything about the bel canto repertoire. But she's also like the kindest, nicest mother and grandmother. So, and you're in her living room, and she stops rehearsal to go meet the bus, to get the school bus to, get her grandson off and go over his homework and give him a snack. And then, boom, right back into it again. So, it's some of this, it's very old-fashioned working with Eve Queller. Very old-fashioned, old-fashioned in how I imagine it was, like in the 40s and 50s, where singers went and stayed with conductors and really worked on, phrasing and ornamentation and interpretation. And in that way, she's rather studious that way and really passionate about what you create is not something it's something just between the two of you. I really like that. The thing I like about Eve's version of concert opera is that it's really just that. It's really just about your relationship with the orchestra, the conductor, and the music. No staged entrances and exits, no trying to pretend you have a knife and you stab yourself, which I don't like. I actually like a concert version to be a concert version, or I'm performing, and you're full out acting, and it's probably the purest relationship in New York, I think, singers have with music, are those performances. Certainly for me, they've been some of the most thrilling things I've ever been. She's one of the only people that actually brought Mariella de Villa to New York. Now that is something special, because she's like a bel canto angel and my idol. And, Eve loved Mariella de Villa. Opera performances can be so complicated because it's really never just about what you want. When you're doing a fully staged production, you're lucky if a third of what you're doing is mostly it's the director's ideas, the costumer's ideas, the set designer's ideas, the conductor's ideas. There's so many people in a staged performance. It's so interesting when, you take the blame for everything and you're like, it wasn't my choice. But with Eve, it transcends that in a way because it's a more complicated thing, but it's simplified. So you have a more profound, complicated relationship with your music, but that's all it's about. Eve likes great singing. That's all she's about. She really is only about, she doesn't care if you have the craziest personality ever. She actually doesn't care if you're fat or too thin. She has that is not at all interesting to her. She is very, very, listen to me, I've gotten really lecturing now. She is only about, it's very old-fashioned. It doesn't happen anymore. If your voice suits this repertoire, can she work with you and create the kind of musical performance that she wants to create? That's all she cares about. That is all she cares about. is whether your voice and this music work together. And that's why, she can work with some singers in 5 or 6 operas, and then another one comes along and they think, oh, she didn't hire me. And it's like, it's not about you. It's not a negative against you. It's actually a positive for how she hears this piece. And that's why, in a way, it's not about young singers giving them an opportunity. It's really, for her, it's a moment where she heard somebody do something and they gave her an idea. And she thought, oh, I'm going to do this. I heard, Vivica Jeannot. She brought Meyerbeer back to life for Eve Queller. I mean, those were amazing performance that they did together. Yeah. I mean, that's what she cares about. It has nothing to do with what you look like. Every conductor in the world could hate you, Eve Queller. If that's the voice she wants, you're working together. There's nothing like it. I mean, that's very old-fashioned. Very, very old-fashioned and good. We want more of that. And I'm not saying that because I have a crazy personality and because I know Eve Queller loves me. But I mean, she's just smart. She's another one, so smart. Oh my God. Scores everywhere, reference material everywhere. She's translated everything herself. She speaks the languages. Just, she works with every singer individually. It's, there's a reason why everybody does so well in those performances with her. There's a reason why. If you don't sing well in those performances with Eve, probably you're sick. No, and I think you can go back historically and look at, reviews for those performances and they're good, really good. Singers are shown to their best when they work with Eve Queller. Mariella Devia coming to New York was probably one of the highlights for me. I mean, that's a great operatic talent that is just, I think because she was never really thought of as a great actress, she just didn't have a heyday at the Met, and she's one of the greatest bel canto opera singers who ever lived. Honestly, for me, being able to do Attila was just a great, great gift. It was just a great gift. It was probably the only performance I ever actually missed a note in any performance, but it just didn't seem to matter in the scheme of things because that music is so gorgeous. And I was singing with Francisco Casanova, who's like a great tenor, and I don't know, we all knew each other too, like Sam Raimi and Francisco and I, like all of us knew each other, and Eve, we'd all done other things together, and so I love that. I mean, Vivica Jeannot, those performances they did, stunning, so stunning. I mean, stunning. I loved singing with Ruth Ann Swenson when we did, Maria Stuarda. It was sort of fun. It was kind of like dueling divas, but we didn't feel that way about each other, but you couldn't not see that was probably how everybody else was looking at it, and Ruth Ann and I had a couple of laughs over that. But also because she got the beautiful music, I got the theatrical music, Oh, here's something funny too, is that later on, I was with Eve, I think we were all having coffee or something, this was about a couple of weeks later, and somebody mentioned that they wanted to know who was turning their pages so crazily during one of the ensembles, because you could hear it on the archival recording. That was me. It's my very theatrical page turns when I was really mad. It's like whipping those pages over. And I just sat there sort of sipping my coffee, like, oh, don't get on her bad side. There are more high notes to sing, She's great. She's great. She really, it is, I think, in a funny way, like very old-fashioned working with her. You feel well cared for musically. It's not like when, you do an opera that's staged and you do like a week's worth of musical rehearsals and then the conductor goes away and you're rehearsing for 3 weeks with the director and they are back and forth, in and out because they have other jobs they're doing, and then, you you get together and you have this whole week of production. There really is this sort of like day-to-day piecing together a profoundly musical experience. Really not a theatrical experience. It's like really profoundly, idiomatically musical experience. And, you know, viewed in that context, she is a real maverick, in my opinion, a real maverick. And she's a chick who is standing in front of an orchestra who pretty much is already predisposed to hating the conductor. And she's a great chick. She's one of the great women. And to have done that when she did it and for as long as she did it is really something. And to have created those great musical experiences. You know, when singers sing well, it's all about the relationship they have with the conductor. It's like nothing's done in a vacuum. You can't have bad conducting and great singing. You just can't have it. It's just not possible. And that's, I think, her gift. She gave all of us a chance at really singing at our best at Carnegie Hall, where it matters. We need that. We need somebody who's going to just bring in great singing because it's great singing. You know, very much in the way that Wynton Marsalis handles jazz at Lincoln Center. You know, he brings in some of the craziest musicians just because they're amazing players. You know, wants to make great music. Eve Queller only wants to make great music. She really does. She doesn't care how what happens to her. She's all about the singer.